Well, then I'm gonna take something.
You must have come to the wrong place, because we got no.
At the beginning of the movie, we're pulled straight into a war zone in Afghanistan, 5 years before the main story kicks off. We're introduced to Jake, a soldier on a routine patrol with his unit, when they spot a suspicious man standing near a building. Jake orders him to show identification, but instead, the man reaches for a weapon. In a split second, Jake's team reacts, and the threat is neutralized. It's tense, it's fast, and it tells us right away. This is a man who's seen things most of us never will. Moments later, Jake discovers a cluster of buried explosives at the site. He wants to defuse them himself, but his commanding officer, Tom Mason, hesitates, sensing something's wrong. Jake pushes forward anyway, carefully disarming the first device. But just as they think they're in the clear, a second bomb, hidden in a nearby house, detonates without warning. The blast tears through the unit, killing nearly everyone except Jake, who's dragged to safety by Mason as a rescue chopper swoops in overhead. It's a gut punch opening, and it sets the emotional foundation for everything that follows. Now we jump forward to the present day. The war hero we just watched is nothing like the man he used to be. We find Jake in a quiet bathroom, popping pills to manage depression, a far cry from the soldier who once ran into gunfire without blinking. These days, he works as a mechanic under his Uncle Earl, a former criminal who's traded his old life for a legitimate one and becomes something of a father figure to Jake. After a long shift, Jake heads home to his son, Weston, who lights up the moment his dad walks through the door. It's a small, warm scene, a rare moment of peace, but it doesn't last. That night, Jake's wife breaks the news that the bank has sent yet another round of notices. They're drowning in debt. Jake tries to stay calm, reassuring her that he'll figure it out, but we can already sense the walls closing in. The next day, we're introduced to the man who's about to shatter Jake's world completely, a small-time gangster named Fresh. Fresh strolls into Earl's garage demanding weekly protection money, threatening to make life difficult if Earl doesn't comply. Jake doesn't take kindly to threats against the man who raised him, and within seconds, he puts Fresh on the ground in a brutal, one-sided confrontation. Humiliated, Fresh storms off, but not before promising there'll be a round two. Jake warns Earl that this isn't over, but Earl brushes it off, insisting Fresh is all bark. It's the kind of decision that feels harmless in the moment, and turns out to be catastrophic. That night, Jake comes home to find Fresh waiting outside in a parked car. A chilling, silent warning. Jake barely has time to process it before stepping inside his house and discovering the unthinkable. His wife and son are dead. In an instant, everything he had, the quiet life, the second chances, the family he was fighting to protect, is gone. When police arrive and ask if he has any enemies, Jake doesn't wait for justice through the system. Consumed by grief and rage, he tracks Fresh down to a nightclub and confronts him with a gun. A chaotic brawl erupts, and just before Jake pulls the trigger, Fresh desperately tries to explain himself, claiming he was only following someone else's orders, that he never wanted to hurt Jake's family. But Jake is too far gone to listen. He kills Fresh before the truth can fully come out. A truth that, we'll soon learn, might have changed everything. 5 months later, Jake is behind bars, paying for that moment of vengeance. We watch him pace his cell, haunted by unanswered questions about how his family really died and who was truly responsible. This is a man being eaten alive by grief and guilt in equal measure. Then, out of nowhere, Mason, his old commanding officer, the man who once saved his life on that Afghan battlefield, shows up for a visit. But Jake isn't interested in reconnecting. Still bitter, still broken, He coldly tells Mason to stay away and never come back. Later that same night, a mysterious man named Sam Ramsey approaches Jake with an offer that sounds too good to be true. A spot on his elite, off-the-books task force, and a way out of prison. Jake, still raw with distrust, shuts him down immediately. But fate, or maybe Ramsey, has other plans. That night, while Jake sleeps, armed men storm his cell. He wakes up disoriented on a rooftop, face to face with Ramsey and his team. Ramsey reveals he knows everything about Jake's military past and dangles a life-changing proposition: total freedom, a new identity, a second chance at living, if Jake agrees to work for him. Torn between suspicion and desperation, Jake is taken to a hidden underground base, where he's formally introduced to Section 8, a covert operation built from society's most dangerous and skilled operatives. Ramsey explains their mission: eliminating threats to national security before they can do damage. To prove himself worthy of joining, Jake is forced into hand-to-hand combat with one of the team's toughest members, Ajax. Against the odds, Jake wins, earning respect from the very people who, only hours earlier, saw him as an outsider. His first mission comes almost immediately. Alongside a skilled operative named Mueller, Jake is sent after Alejandro Castillo, an arms dealer allegedly planning to sell classified military schematics on the black market. Mueller makes their real assignment chillingly clear: they're not just retrieving documents. They're there to erase everyone involved. It hits Jake hard. He's not fighting for his country anymore. He's an assassin. During the operation, the deal turns violent almost instantly, and a firefight breaks out. In the chaos, Jake recovers the schematics, but he makes a choice that will define him. He spares the lives of innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire, disobeying his direct orders. When Ramsey finds out, he's furious. To him, mercy isn't a virtue, it's a liability. Behind closed doors, Ramsey orders Mueller to keep a closer eye on their newest recruit. The cracks in this so-called second chance are already starting to show. Back at his new Section 8 safe house, Jake stumbles across something unsettling: an old photo from his military days, one that shouldn't exist there. It's a small detail, but it plants a seed of doubt. Later, at a bar, Mueller tries to get closer to Jake romantically, but he's still emotionally shattered from losing his family and shuts the idea down. Then comes the mission that changes everything. Ramsey reveals their next target: Senator Jim Graham, a public official secretly working against his own country's interests. The team is ordered to infiltrate his event, steal incriminating files from his system, and eliminate him before he can do any more damage. Jake is stunned. A senator? But there's no time to question it. The operation moves fast. While Mueller slips inside to extract data, Jake and the rest of the team wait outside, ready to strike the moment the senator is exposed. But something goes wrong. Security realizes they've been infiltrated, alarms start blaring, and the mission spirals into chaos as the team scrambles to escape. In the middle of the extraction, Jake hesitates when it's finally time to pull the trigger on Graham, and Ajax, without warning, opens fire himself. Jake is furious. In their world, hesitation gets people killed, and apparently, that includes trust. Back at his safe house, Jake barely has time to process what happened before Ramsey's men show up. Not to protect him this time, but to eliminate him. Section 8 has decided he's now a liability. Jake manages to escape and, with nowhere else to turn, goes straight to the one person who might actually help him: Mason. Mason drops a bombshell. The original Section 8 program was officially shut down years ago, but a secret, rogue version of it still exists, run by dangerous people with powerful connections. Jake finally understands the size of the enemy he's up against. He asks Mason for money and weapons, ready to fight back. Meanwhile, we're introduced to Locke, another Section 8 operative who's just as deadly and loyal to Ramsey as anyone on the team. While Locke is finishing off a separate assignment, Ramsey orders Mueller to reach out to him with a new target, Jake himself. Section 8 wants their former recruit erased. Back in his hometown, Jake runs into a young boy, a friend of his late son, who mentions seeing suspicious, tactical-looking men lurking around Fresh before his death. It's a small but devastating detail. Fresh really was connected to a shadowy government operation all along. And somewhere in the distance, unseen, Locke is already watching Jake's every move. Locke loses track of Jake for a moment and reports back to Ramsey, promising he won't fail. Meanwhile, Jake takes refuge at Earl's place, and in a quiet, emotional moment, thanks him for raising him and shaping the man he's become. It's a heartfelt scene, right before it's violently interrupted. Section 8 operatives track them down, forcing Jake and Earl into a desperate fight for their lives. Mueller unexpectedly shows up and helps save them both, a moment that seems to prove she's on Jake's side. With Earl safe, Jake sets his sights on Ramsey, determined to end this once and for all. Mueller insists on joining him. Jake, still wary of trusting anyone, warns her that he can't afford to be betrayed again, but she convinces him to let her come along anyway. It's a decision that turns out to be a trap. When Jake wakes up, he's tied to a chair, staring straight at Ramsey and Mueller, who, it turns out, was working against him the entire time. The betrayal cuts deep. And then, the true gut punch. Mason walks into the room. The same man who saved Jake's life in Afghanistan. The same man Jake trusted completely. Except this time, Mason has a shocking confession. He had nothing to do with the death of Jake's wife and son. In fact, he's been working undercover this entire time, trying to bring down Section 8 from the inside. He tells Jake the truth. Section 8 orchestrated the deaths of his family specifically to manipulate him into joining their ranks. While he sets the real plan into motion, what follows is an explosive confrontation. Ramsey tries to buy Jake's silence, offering him millions of dollars and a new identity, promising he'll simply disappear as a free, wealthy man. But Jake doesn't want money. He wants the truth and revenge. In a final, desperate move, Ramsey begs for his life, insisting Jake won't be able to pull the trigger. That hesitation has always been his weakness. He's wrong. Jake finishes what he started, taking down Ramsey and everyone tied to the conspiracy that destroyed his family. In the aftermath, U.S. Attorney General Martin Savoy, the man Mason had secretly been reporting to all along, steps in. He confirms Jake won't be sent back to prison and reveals an even bigger truth. Section 8 was never a legitimate operation. It was a front, quietly funneling classified intelligence to America's enemies the entire time. Savoy offers Jake a place in a new, cleaner initiative built to hunt down everyone else like Ramsey, something called Section 9. Jake doesn't give him an answer right away. Peace doesn't come that easily, anyway. When Jake finally returns home, Locke is waiting for him. Despite Ramsey being dead, Locke insists the contract still stands. His reputation depends on finishing the job, dead employer or not. The two clash in a brutal, bloody final showdown, and it's Jake who walks away, wresting the gun from Locke's hands and ending the fight for good. In the movie's final moments, we watch him say goodbye to Earl, thanking him for everything he sacrificed to raise him. It's a quiet, emotional beat that reminds us this was never just an action story. It was about family, loyalty, and what people are willing to do to protect the ones they love. Then Jake boards a bus out of town. Sitting across from him is a mother, quietly holding her child. Something about the image cracks Jake open. Grief, memory, maybe the old sense of duty he thought had died along with his family. Whatever it is, it's enough. He picks up his phone, calls Savoy, and simply says he's found something worth fighting for. Savoy welcomes him to Section 9, closing one chapter of trauma and betrayal, and opening the door to something new. And that's the complete story. A tale of grief turning into vengeance, trust turning into betrayal, and one man's fight to reclaim his life after everything was ripped away from him. It's brutal, it's emotional, and it asks a haunting question. How far would you go if the people meant to protect you were the ones who destroyed everything first? If this breakdown kept you hooked from start to finish, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button right now. Because if you walk away without subscribing after sitting through this entire story with us, you're missing out on breakdowns like this every single week. And honestly, we put a lot of heart into these for viewers just like you. Don't be the one person who scrolls past without showing a little support. And before you go, drop a comment below. Tell us what shocked you the most. Fresh's connection to Section 8, Mueller's betrayal, or Mason's undercover twist. We read every single comment, and we want to know what you think really deserved more screen time. Thanks for watching till the very end. We'll see you in the next breakdown.